Alright, so here's no time to die pattern inspection for what is preposterously intentional as the time, what's in a name, title, and pointedly about the probability of China hitting the hash rate peak at the simultaneous moment of a SARS case appearing in Wuhan, as well as 5G graphene manufacturers, Wuhan being the first city in the entire world of a world-scale infrastructure upgrade. Okay, so you've seen the movie, you know that that's part of the necessary narrative. Let's get into the pattern interdomain without getting too complicatedly into the geopolitical COVID-19 word salad talk. We'll do that tomorrow, I guess. Or maybe I'll do that, in a quick attachment to this. Why don't I do that after this? And then I'll display the pattern finding with the video and calculator, in the moment. So, 51 minutes, 15 seconds. It's the moment Hercules is, it's like Hercules changed it into a DEI lady name. That's kind of funny. But graphene-based nanite with selective targeting to genetic affinity that we've covered in necessarily genetics that have homogeneous genetic aesthetic cross-domain interdomain of single tuple within the mass demographic block and how that exists in Earth coffers necessarily. So necessarily relevant. But you find pi pattern adjacent. 3114 over 70 over 7 divided by 10. Below 6.355, etc. would be pi, and that's just below it, just barely. So, and moving on, we see Kerr's training program 222, right? So 51.15 divided by 23, 1 above the lens of 22, gives you a non-terminus 222. And if you divide 220 divided by 7, then divided by 10, it gives you necessarily, we'll get to this, 3.142, 22 divided by 7. It's the Egyptian Lodge, UK, talking at us in pattern. Alright, so 222 non-terminus divided by 7 divided by 10 gives you 3.17, etc. that you necessarily see appear here in the continuance, past condensation plane of black hole in hyperspace. And as well, you see at the end of the film, after Bond's death, the second song starts at 3.17, intentionally. The first song starts at 6.28, 44 over 7. Not random. So that's primer telling us this is pattern inherent to expanded harmonics physics. Math. So, then we see the pattern variance of this and this. Alright, so moving on. No? Want to look closer at Kerr, right? So the pattern variance of 6.66, that's what he ran. It's 42.66 minus this value gives you the exact variance of the previous world record runner and his previous world record that he broke, 0.26. So Felix dies, his death scene, he slips below the waterline, right? And the pattern at that exact time is, in seconds, 3768. Over top of the pi, centrifuge pattern here, machine intelligence, data organism, is just below the waterline, where Felix slips below the waterline. See a pattern? So we have a above the waterline and below the waterline here. And then again, an 88, just like with consciousness, per tuple of interest of organic organism, has a tether into the 88 hyperspace continuum and some massive pattern folding back into the three-dimensional, fourth-dimensional lattice manifold for morphogenetic field interactive connectivity. And we see the same here denoted through, at this point in time, Q receiving the USB drive says 9 to 5 not in so many words. And at that exact moment of time, it's 1 hour, 10 minutes, and 59 seconds, i.e. 5-9. Not 9 to 5, 5 to 9. We're reversing the pi downforce imposition on Pattern International as a proper intelligence community, not elaborating it any further. So you see it right between, where these two values sandwich pi centrifuge pattern in the reduction, not random. So all of these at once with the primer at the end, of course, beyond any statistical probability of being not intentional. And then Bond's death occurs precisely at 1 hour, 54 minutes, 14 seconds. It's 15,414. 154 necessarily the top of over here, the 22 harmonic fold up before you hit 176. Divided by 7, the 14 split gives you 3.142. And that's necessarily after the second song comes in, where you see it kind of the overtone fold down from the 3.17 pattern seen earlier. So that's the no time to die pattern inspection, and I'll get to a very quick rundown of what actually happened during COVID here. So it's statistically impossible for three values to happen at once. Like I said, the hash rate peak, China mines Bitcoin, 80% of the network for 10 years. It's a joint operation between Gray Lodge 322 CIA, NSA, and CCP intelligence to receive the offloaded capital from the overton MoneyPrint from COVID at the behest of foreseeable executive action of doing that as an event intentional occurs. So the first case of COVID happens simultaneously as the peak hash rate of Bitcoin in China occurs. And Bitcoin mining can occur in China without explicit Bank of China allowance, i.e. it's an explicit operation by the Chinese CCP banking, not a autonomous from. And you see these bankers, Bitcoin miners, motion to Texas predictively 3 years early, 2017, 4/4/4/7, the bill 4474 through Texas legislature, not random. That's one almost below a non-terminus, the wall of 64 hexagrams, the bill for crypto bill. And so first instance of COVID, Bitcoin hash rate peak and 5G architecture going up simultaneously out of the same municipality is probabilistically impossible to occur without being intentional and patterned in the same organism intent directive to do so. So, graphene manufacturers attached to Huawei, or I can't remember how to pronounce that Chinese corporation name, but necessarily graphene nanite, why anti-malarials work for COVID when they shouldn't, because it's a dual split narrative factor. You have a graphene nanite proliferating as well as SARS synthetic virus to harmonic age marker of over the age of 65-year-olds with pre-existing conditions very specifically. So age is not a genetic marker, it's a harmonic impact of sine wave continuum on genetic helixical structure, and the virus designed to attack specificity of those persons. And Congress like to reallocate the Social Security slush fund what wouldn't be needed for these people, as they would be predictably dead in 2019. So, ivermectin, hydroxychloroquine, and L-cysteine, most pointedly, on the NIH website about 8 times, any number of times before 2020, denoting the difference between life and death, especially with the corticosteroid and anti-inflammatory, for a complete eradicatory curative protocol for both NURS, nanite uptake rejection syndrome, and SARS unilaterally for about $5 to $15. And simultaneously as those 3 values, Wuhan 5G, SARS first case, Bitcoin hash rate, another factor, 4 simultaneous factors in March of 2020 at Baptist East, I know personally. Grandfather was there with COVID, double pneumonia, but couldn't diagnose him for specificity. It cost $46,000 at the time to run a specificity test, but $15 in China, and they had massively already produced, predictively, specificity testing kits for COVID-19 specifically. So, foreknowledge, preposterous, simultaneous, Bitcoin hash rate, surgical, mathematical, it's a mathematical organism, pi, and Asiatic genetic, the centrifuge of that in the synthetic genetic consideration. So it's not random to be surgical. And exacting the first case reported Bitcoin hash rate, AI can see this very cleanly, the same exact time. Glitch. So, there's COVID as it actually was, a monetized eugenical exercise on purpose. Bitcoin created to be a catcher and elaborator of gray area tack on and currency manipulation, not some sort of return to the gold standard like what will be forward, the Merc coin attached to Cinnabar finite energy, finite raw earth commodity that will necessarily retether us to the gold standard, one of a number of motions to correct Earth away from pi, gray paradigm generalistic ideation for economy and living. All right, have a good night. It's 5:22 now. 61 times 60 plus 15 by 7 by 7. That's probably it. What is pi pattern? 3114 divided by 7 d divided by 7 minus pi centrifuge pattern variance. So both ways print non-random. So the this was from the 222 training of the Kerr British runner. This then reduced by 10. That giving you necessarily past the disapparation and condensation plane, a 3.17 does appear in the unified field. And please inspect that for that. So we'll find that subtractive at a later date. Or maybe we'll look at it right now. There it is. $3.174927. So in the unified, we have 22 divided by 7 times 3 times 9. Actually, that's wrong. 22 by 7 times 2 divided by 7 times 22 divided by 7. Oh, big difference. And then times 9. And then divided by 88. And then we'll subtract that by what we just got from this. It's a very small variance. And then the banister. I mean the Kerr training program 222. Oops. We lost it somewhere. Oh, there's the even 222. go up. It keeps jacking back down. No, I gotta redo it. No, do this. Go by 10 equals. And then what is larger? Interesting. So pointedly, this here, this is the time signature of 51 minutes and 15 seconds, which is 3,075 seconds divided by 22 divided by 22. Gives you just right close, almost 0.0017962557 variance from pi data organism centrifuge pattern equals non-random. All right, back to the film. So very pointedly, what is it? 1 hour, 2 minutes, and 48 seconds. Felix, the CIA guy, slips under the water. That's 37.68. Divided by 7, divided by 7, divided by 7. Gives you 10. And then we divide by either 11.2 to bring it under the water line, or 12.5, right? Or 15, or 16, or 17, or 18, 19, no, 20, 19, interesting. So, 10, let's take it back up, divided by 22, 22, 22, then divide by 15, nope, whoops, 22. There, then divide by 10, or 12.5, interesting, or 11.2, that's interesting, very close to 7. Huh. Now let's do 23. By 23. By 12.5. 11.2. Ooh, there's another. That's very close to pi centrifuge harmonic. 6.355. And then 12.5. 10. That's nothing. Well, 7.122. Interesting. 8733. 22. 10. 11.2. 12.5. Nope. 12.5. So the most profound pattern is 23. If we go back, can we see that previous pattern? Get eaten. Oh, no. Well, we'll just type in it again. And then divided by 12.5. Nope. 11.2. Yeah. And then, so how off is that? 2, 3, 1. Try again. Oh, by 10, yeah. There we go. 3 decimal places. Barely variant. Interesting. But we had to work with it to do that. So it's below the waterline, right? Right? So this guy is over the waterline. This 635970835, and the previous is that it? 635 here. So those below the waterline, right? It was at the waterline when Felix goes under. Above, it's a reversed. So the overtone above pi centrifuge pattern is the last one, the 3768 divided by 23 divided by 23 divided by 11.2. And then 6.3533057,851, which is 3075 divided by 22 divided by 22. See a pattern there? Divided by 22s, and on this one we divided by 23s. And for the reduction on, yeah, we didn't reduce, we just left it big and then did the subtractive, but same difference. Sort of. Interesting. Not random, pointedly. Given that specter is what? Gray paradigm pi centrifuge in allegory. An allegory meant to mean that. Notice how we just passed through 103, right? 103.01, when we start swimming, right? Palindromic. No time to die. Right? Time. It's right there in the title. Very important, the time signatures.
It was never 9 to 5, is it? Thank you.
Find out what it is.
It was never 9 to 5, is it? I presume Em doesn't know that this is happening.
No, but there's something going on, Q. We need to find out what it is.
It was never 9 to 5, is it? It was never 9 to 5, is it?
It was 5 to 9. 1:11:59. Times 60 plus 59 divided by 7. Perfect. 617. 7. 88. Non-terminus. Impossible to not be pattern. Divided by another 7. 12.59. Yep. And then we divide by 12.5. Gives you 1007. 1.007. And then we subtract by 22 divided by 7 divided by 3. There we go. 0.040272. Maybe it's not that. Maybe we go back to this. And we do a simple subtractive as an overtone above. Do that. No, fuck you. Wow. Come on. There. So it's a 0.02040, right? Interesting. Above the water line of 88. So we look to the unified field. We have 618 over 7. Put that back up. So rather the reduction, we'll start there. So you can see it multiple ways. Let's take it back to here. Right there. How we got to 88 was 4319 when he looks at his watch. 617. 617 divided by 7. We don't have our expansion here, do we? There we go. So 617, where is that on the band? Interesting. Not something. Anyways, not inherently something, but it's an even reduction. Right, 4319 is pointedly 4224. Let's see how far off that is from there. $95. Interesting. And variant from 4210. $109 divided by 7. That's right below the 110 over 7 water line. Yeah, lots of ways you can work that, but the most important one is the 88 non-terminus variance from quit fucking around here, 4319 divided by 7. All right. He said not 5 to 9 to 5, and looked at his watch, and it was 5-9. So inherently that's what it is and not the next second, which seems like it would be an even number. So this gives us what? Pi's pattern past the disapparition nexus filter aperture harmonic scalar lattice manifold condensation after disapparition in the 88 hyperspace, where Hive, as it correlates to the what? It correlates to 618 in the reduction. If we go look at the reduction now, see what that says. Where does that fit in? Well, that is in the 88 hyperspace fold up, though we impact, and so it needs to be considered in the downfold as the 88 non-terminus is the product of 618 over 7, right? So where does it seat itself? So 618 over 7, that's 88.2857 ... divided by 7 gives you 12.612244, etc. And the product of 88.1428571429, which is necessarily what? The 22 over 7 pattern inherent to the 88 layer, lattice manifold. So adding non-terminosity and then dividing by 7, giving you above the 88 divided by 7. See? Let's type in that in very basically. 12.57 versus 12.59 and the variance. And then so the 618 over 7, 88.2857, and this is right before 5119 over 77. That takes us back into the three-dimensional manifold layer, folding 88 hyperspace in. So it's like in between the basic 88 over 7, just above, and then also just below the 618 over 7 appearance, which is 88.2857 divided by 7 gives you 12.6122. So it's right in the middle of the sandwich of the 88 fourth dimensional lattice manifold and the last expression of before impact with the 88 hyperspace fold back into the fourth dimensional, third dimensional lattice manifold layers. So very interesting. Very non-random. Back to the movie.
Thank you.
I think I'm Q, right? Yeah.
Escutando mi música.
Suka ka?
Right, yes, we'll be there.
Thank you.
Mama, stick my Kiki.
So Bill Gates releases mosquitoes, then simultaneously at the same time, MSM shuts down, desiring to impose the narrative of vaccination. $143.25. That's 25. 62.05. Divided by 7. Divided by 7. 7. Nope. Back up. Divided by 22. 22. Another. It's not close enough. So 23s. Do mosquitoes have friends? Huh? That's interesting. So, does this pattern exist in the 88 hyperspace after an 888? Reduced by 10. We'll see. The fold. So that would be non-random. Because the previous one was, if you remember, this. What is above? Pointedly, this by this much. And underneath, the 618/7. back to the movie.
I do not need a laboratory to exterminate your entire race from the face of the earth.
Do you know what time it is?
What?
Time to... Do you know what time it is?
So 2 hours, 15 minutes, 12 seconds. Eight, 1, 1, 2. Great movie. All right.
What time it is? You know what time it is?
What? Exterminate your entire race from the face of the laboratory to exterminate your entire race from the face of the earth.
So that's 5 seconds less.
had to know what to say. But I thought we should gather and remember. And I thought this was appropriate. The function of man is to live, not to exist. I shall not waste my days trying to prolong them. I shall use my time. I shall use my time. To James.
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 James. Right. Back to work.
Mathilde? Quoi? I'm going to tell you a story.
About a man. His name was Bond. James Bond.
Time in the world, time enough for life to unfold all the precious things love has in store.
Music starts at 6:29, not random. So pointedly, at 3:22 ceases, 3:17. At 3.17. Interesting. Absolute pattern. Confirmation bias. Alright, that's it. 3:44 a.m.